And what's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Cover Band Central Podcast, episode 193, coming to you live from New Orleans on February 21st, Mardi Gras Tuesday. I'm Steve Witchell in New Orleans.
I'm Tony B, coming to you live from New Jersey. What's happening?
That's all you had to say. I had to say all that other stuff.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness. I know. We were on break for a few weeks. We got some big news to talk about, and we'll explain why we were on break. But if you're coming in here live, come on in and say hello. Tell us where you're from. We will say hello back. And if you want to jump in on the conversation or bring up your own topic, ask a question, whatever, we kind of wing it as we go here for the next hour. So thank you for joining us. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, too. We broadcast on YouTube live and Facebook in the group and on the page. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Click on that link and check it out.
Come check it out.
Steven's here, and he's calling me a slacker. He says, why aren't you in the Madness on Bourbon? I will certainly talk about that.
Sure you will, Steve.
I worked all weekend on Bourbon Street during Mardi Gras, and it was something. It was something else. Edward says, hello, everyone. Hello, Edward. He didn't say where he's from.
Eddie.
But everybody else, tell us where you're from so we know where in the world we're reaching. And we are reaching all over the world.
So while you're telling your other story, Steve, I want you to think about the best thing you saw last week while you're on break.
I'm going to talk about it. Happy Mardi Gras, Johnny. He said happy Mardi Gras to us. This is my 12th year being here. Kelly's in Victoria, British Columbia. Edward's in West Virginia.
WV.
Johnny's in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us. So, all right.
Steve, I'm from New Jersey.
We got to talk about the elephant in the room, Tony, don't we? And you know what that is?
It's not in my room anymore.
For regular viewers of this and listeners of this,
yes,
know that we called it the CBC Wisdom Hour up until this point.
So let's explain real quick, Steve.
Yes, we should explain this.
Where the name came from.
What's up, Eric?
The meaning is behind it.
Yeah, we'll go for anybody that's new to this or does not know the history. Let's explain the history and then explain the reason we've changed it, which is very exciting news. We'll talk about that. But go ahead, Tony. I mean, you're the one that I think is more eloquent with describing this.
I'll give you the quick 1 minute recap of the Wisdom Hour.
Okay.
So back in the day, I was teaching drums 3-4 nights a week out in Rockaway at Richie's Music. And I used to call Steve on my ride home every Monday. And I had
now this was 2005, 6, around there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have been when you were early days with the band.
I think it was towards the latter days because I know that we were still talking when I was no longer in the band.
Yes, correct.
So, yeah, 2005.
So that's another minute to recap the history of how we met and all that. We're going to stick with the Wisdom Hour. Let's not get distracted. Okay. So, on that hour ride home.
What's up, Kareen? And nice picture. Ooh la la.
So, me and Steve would chat for an hour about all kinds of things. About positivity and energy in the universe and music and cover bands and original music and just all kinds of stuff. And we used to laugh all the time and say, man, all the wisdom that I've gained on my ride home this week is just incredible.
Yes, both of us. There was a serious exchange of wisdom during those 1 hour conversations.
And before we had the podcast or even the thought of the podcast, I would personally open up the Wisdom Hour every Monday night when I used to call Steve by singing George Michael's Freedom, but using the words wisdom. So when Steve would pick up the phone and say, hey, man, I go, wisdom! And like a Dio, Ian Gillan type of retroactive voice. And
I do have some of those voicemails still recorded.
Yeah, so that's the other piece of it too. So if Steve was playing or was indisposed at the moment when I was calling him, I would leave him a voicemail and inject some wisdom into his phone with that intro, and then some sort of brief words of wisdom to follow that, and then typically get a call back, or if not, we pick it up the next week. Right. So then you fast forward many years later, Steve moves down to New Orleans, and we remain good friends and we talk all the time. We have Wisdom Hour on our own. And then Steve gets the bright idea to say, hey, man, let's do a podcast and we'll call it the CBC Wisdom Hour. But
Well,
wisdom.
at first, yeah. I mean, at first it was really let's do a podcast. Just
Yes.
because you and I hadn't really been talking on the regular basis like we had been when I was living in Jersey, like as much anyway. And I loved our conversations, and and that was my excuse. Like, well, I'll do a podcast with you, and then that way, you have to talk to
Yeah.
me. But then, yeah, like 2 or 3 episodes in, we're like, duh, Wisdom Hour.
Yeah, it's the Wisdom Hour because we're talking about the same stupid stuff that we would talk about on our ride home. But it really wasn't stupid stuff because then when we started sharing it with people, they started digging it and subscribing to it and being interested in it. And it wasn't just two dicks talking shit, as one guy once put it, but it was, somewhat somewhat value to many. So it's been fun. And here we are 193 episodes later, and we never thought we would get to this point. So
No, we just really did it for fun for us. I mean,
yeah.
for me anyway, that was my original thing. Like I liked listening to podcasts. I had been a guest on one, which was Gig Gab Podcast, which is Dave Hamilton and Paul Kent. They still do their podcast. They're great. They're working musicians. And they had me on as a guest early on in the Cover Band Central uh,
Yeah.
life. I had grown the page to like maybe 15,000 at that point, and that seemed like a lot. I guess it caught their attention, and they contacted me, and I was a guest on their podcast. So that's when I really started listening to podcasts more. And I was like, I would love to do one. And yeah, and then we just did it. I
So
mean, really effortless, right, Tony? I mean, besides the technical stuff that we had to deal with, getting the sounds right, and then eventually the camera right when we went to video.
yeah,
But otherwise, effortless. We would rarely plan what to talk about. We would just come up with
no, in
something.
the first 100-something episodes, right, was only audio, and we would never plan anything. It would just be I get on, and be like, "Hey, man, what's going on? You ready? Okay, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go." And then we'd go, and we would just, off the cuff and just do it. And it was funny because it was spontaneous. We did whatever we wanted. We talked about anything and everything, but
Right.
we really had no engagement or ways for guests to communicate with us.
Mike's here. Speaking of,
Yeah, there you
or
go, Mike.
tornadoes, killing it.
So, yeah, so then that's what happened, and then we said to ourselves, "You know what? It's gonna be the Wisdom Hour."
Yeah, we called it the Wisdom Hour. We spelled it WIZDUMB, which was my idea, just to make it a little different than the regular word wisdom, because I didn't want to make it sound too serious. Because we do come up with some profound ideas and thoughts and stuff,
It's
but
it it was
we also don't take ourselves too seriously. So I thought that was the perfect way to convey that in one word. But
it
well, I'll
wasn't
explain
because
the
we had
change.
no audience, like, in the first beginnings, right? We would just talk about whatever we wanted to talk about,
Right,
and then we look, like, to see how many replays we got, but we would just talk about anything and everything, and all of a sudden be like, "Oh, wow, dude, the hour's up. Alright, man, we gotta go now," and, like, we would sign off. As
right,
opposed to now, it's cool because like, when you do the video thing too, you get engagement, you get the people on StreamYard, you get questions, you get interaction. So it's
right.
grown exponentially in that matter, as from us just professing and pontificating awesomeness and wisdom to everyone about all these things. It became more of a roundtable discussion in a sense, right? With different
Yes.
topics, and then we would post topics and get questions. And then we started having guests, which we're going to start doing more of. And here we are today, Steve. How many years later? And
Yes,
explain to
I many years
big
later.
announcement that you're
Doug's
about
in
to do.
Washington. Hello, Doug, with the cat with the laser eyes.
Mm.
It's gonna burn your retinas. Burn your retinas. So yeah, so then yeah, we came up with topics. We started having guests, like you said, and Tony and I are both working musicians too, and we have been for a very long time. So that's our kind of story there. But so now the change is a result of a podcast network reaching out to me and saying, we really love what you do. We want you to be part of our network. Because the audio podcast, as you said, we started with audio only. And we've still been putting out the audio podcasts, even though when we switched to video. It's been going through Spreaker and then through these other channels where you find podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple, all the other stuff, Stitcher. Um, But this podcast network that is exclusively music related podcasts reached out to us and said we would love to have you as part of our network. So we joined that, and now this is going to be the first new episode on Pantheon, and that's pantheon.com. I didn't create a banner. I'll create a banner so people can see it. But that's where we're at now, where you can find all of our podcasts for all 192, Tony.
Yes.
So
192 hours, nothing to do. Get caught up. Let's
all
go.
the past ones are on there.
Yeah.
And the new ones will be on there too.
Pantheon.
Pantheon.com. I got it. I had to create a banner for it so people can see it
Yes.
there at pantheon.com. That's where you can go and check. And there's a lot of great podcasts on Pantheon too.
It's very
I've
cool.
listened to a bunch of them. They're all music related. So if you're a musician or a music fan, go there, check them out. And it's fun to scroll through. I don't think I know our past ones are up there, but I don't think they're active yet. So I think within the next day or two they will be though. So
very cool. Very exciting.
See. It's great to have you here, Linda. She said it's great to be here. So for those who are listening to the audio podcast, we do it as a live stream initially, and we broadcast on the Cover Band Central Facebook page, the Cover Band Central Facebook group, and on the Cover Band Central YouTube channel, all live, and then archived there once we're done as a replay. So you can, if you're just listening to the audio, you want to see what we look like or something. See Tony's new cowbells, then that's where you can do that. But either way, it's great to have you as part of this. So that's the deal. It's a new beginning. It's kind of exciting, isn't it?
Well, there's a couple of things you're not telling people, Steve.
What am I not telling?
All right. So from my understanding was one of the things was that Steve has to cut his hair short as mine, and I have to grow my hair as long as Steve's. So over the next 100 episodes of podcasting, you'll see my hair continue to get longer and longer, and Steve's going to go shorter and shorter. That was one thing that they brought up. Second thing was the backgrounds. To get too much background going on. Just it's too much.
Well, for an audio podcast, I think the background is irrelevant.
I know.
And the hair length.
And that was my answer to them precisely. I said it's
Right.
irrelevant how much stuff we have going on in the background because you're not going to see it. And if we didn't have to do video, then what would be the sense of doing it?
Yes, and they realized the error of their ways, and
we could sit here in our pajamas and just lay back on the couch like the early days and just chit chat.
That's what we did in the early days. Thank you, George. He said, "Congrats."
Yeah,
it's exciting. Though all jokes aside, it's exciting to be a part of a music network of podcasts and to have our entire catalog there. So
and
please check it out.
It's professional for sure.
Steve said he had too many drums.
Definitely, 100% agree.
In your background,
never enough. But no, listen. To your point though, like you said, if you're, it's upgraded our whole platform from day one, right? We each had audio with like an old mixer, and you were trying to figure out how to make it work. So you had like a program, and then we'd call in and we would do it, and it was like in the background, be like noises going on, and it was like a little rough. And then 25 episodes in, then we refined that and got rid of some of the bugs, and then another 25 episodes later, you change mics, or you're listening back now, and we're refining it, and we're buying new gear, and and just making it better. And then the video thing comes about, right? And then it's like, okay, now you have to have a presentation for that, so you have to up the game on the backgrounds and the studio and the lighting and all that goes with it. So through the whole journey, Steve, if nothing else, I mean, we've learned a ton about gear and technology as it relates to this platform, right? And every aspect of it, from the audio to the video to the presentation, how to look, the lighting, there's a lot that goes into this,
Yes, and we never stop learning this stuff.
No, constant learning.
There's always a new challenge that comes up. So I think we're going to improve the audio better going forward. This network is there to help you out with things like that too, which is fantastic. Because again, we just did this for fun. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like Tony said, we use more primitive equipment, and lots of buzzes and clicks and dropouts and all
sound
sorts of stuff.
effects, and
Right. But we've come this far. So
that's
by
right.
episode like 250, we're going to be really dialed in, I think.
I think by episode
That's mean,
95,
Steve.
we're gonna be.
Stevie D.
Yeah.
Can we improve the host faces? Steve is messing with us.
I got a good
That
idea.
means he likes our faces.
Tell him next week we got a surprise for him.
Okay.
Well, I just told him he's listening. So, Steve,
Yeah.
check in with us next week. We'll improve on the faces. I promise.
Yeah, he will. Steve's a
100%.
great singer. He's out there doing his thing. Plays piano too.
Nice.
So now's a good time to take a break. All right, and we're back.
And now a word from our sponsors.
So yeah, well,
Hey,
don't do it again.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm gonna have to edit that part out.
That's all right. Edit that stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a couple sponsors on the show. Thanks for listening.
It's great.
Yeah. So New Orleans, Mardi Gras time of year,
Steve,
Tony.
tell us about your Mardi Gras experience thus far into the Mardi Gras season.
Well, today is Fat Tuesday. Mardi Gras, the end of carnival season. Here for actually carnival season extends into French Quarter Fest and stuff. Maybe I don't even know, but it's the end of Mardi Gras, and I worked this past weekend doubles on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, which is what I've been doing lately for the last 4 or 5 months. Not quite that. 4 months, maybe.
So regular gig on Bourbon Street is for the past 4 or 5 months. Those 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, doubles. So like 30 something sets, right? Excuse me, 30 something sets, right?
10, 15, and that's 31 and 37. 37.
37 sets.
Yes.
So that's the usual week, and then now you throw the other stuff on top of that.
Yeah. So the way it's been is I've been playing with the band during the day called Cornerstone, and we play at Bourbon Bandstand. We start at 2:00 and played at 6:15, with one break in between, a 30-minute break. So we do 3 sets. A set is 45 minutes. Take a break, do 2 sets, and then 45 minutes later, I'm playing across the street at another club called Fat Cats with a band called Rockbox, and we play 8 sets. So, but for Mardi Gras weekend, Rockbox took off, and they do it every year. So I was expecting to just be playing during the day, which I was kind of happy about, but kind of not, because I'm thinking if I'm going to go in there, in that madness, I want to be there all day, and working. Because the biggest difficulty with this, aside from the very long day of playing, is the traveling and the parking, because roads are blocked off. There's parades. Parking is expensive. If you can't park for free anywhere, like I normally do. But then we got asked to play with Cornerstone, the day band. We got asked to play at Fat Cats at night. So the whole band doing a double each night.
Wow.
And those guys aren't used to it. I've been doing it, but those guys haven't been doing it. So that was the weekend. That's what we did. And we made it through, but boy, oh boy, it's not easy. It's not for everyone.
Well, like we talk about, definitely stamina, and you got to be in good health, and you got to be in good shape, and it gets back to if you're a pro on tour, you're on the road for 10 months, like it's you're playing 200 shows,
right? Yeah. So
high energy every night. I was watching something the other day about Rush with Neil, and he was saying he plays at triple F, fortissimo, like as hard as you can hit the drum is how hard he's hitting it all the time, every time.
Right.
To get the sound out of it, to get the energy out of it, to get the projection, to just this way he's playing, and you're in these big arenas and you become accustomed to hitting that hard.
and like Steven said, vocally, it's crazy.
Yeah, same thing.
It's so I'm trying to think of where to begin with this. Mardi Gras here for the last couple of years. Obviously, when COVID, it was shut down, so there was no Mardi Gras 2 years ago, or yeah, in 2020 and 2021, I believe there was no Mardi Gras celebration thing. So it came back last year, and it was okay. I remember, but this year, boy oh boy, it is slamming.
Oh yeah.
There are so many people in town, and nobody cares about COVID anymore, or at least none of these revelers out there.
Revelers.
Yes, nobody's wearing masks. Anything. It's back to normal craziness.
Mm-hmm.
And we work with Bandstand, the day band. There's a balcony, as you know, the traditional type of balconies you see in New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
on Bourbon Street, and people go up there and throw beads down from there and to the street. So Bandstand, the stage faces in away from Bourbon Street, but there's windows there, and it's right on the street. So I can turn around, look out the window, and watch what's going on, which I did often. But standing out there too, it's exactly what you expect from Mardi Gras type of things in New Orleans.
So would you say like 17, 18, 19 before COVID at its peak of craziness, is it back to that level, or is it even crazier?
It's almost crazier, it seemed. I mean, I've been there for many of them.
But I mean, because it's been on hiatus for a couple of years, you'd think that, now that it's reopened.
Yeah, it might be
out of control.
It might be a little bit crazier. A lot of flashing of boobies, a lot of that. I put a post up saying it's Bourbon Street is rated R. It contains adult language, smoking, alcohol and drug use, and nudity.
There you go. All the makings for a fine night out on Bourbon Street.
Right. Or a day. I mean, it's happening during the day, too.
Or a morning, if you want to get started bright and early.
So yeah, same band, 2 gigs each day. And the guys all live far away from here. I live the closest to New Orleans. I'm like 20 minutes away. 2 of the guys drive an hour and a half. One guy drives 3 hours, and another guy drives about an hour each way. Yeah, each day. And since we're
every day, that guy's driving 3 hours to the gig and then 3 hours home.
Yeah, which he's got a truck too. Not the 3 hour. Well, they do both have trucks. Yeah. So that's costing a lot of money. So I thought, well, we're doing doubles, and it's going to be crazy, and they're probably going to be drinking. So why don't they just crash with me for the weekend? So I extended that offer, and they did. 3 of the 4 other guys stayed at my place for the weekend. So we Ubered in. They came earlier Friday, and then we Ubered in and Ubered home. Saturday, same thing, Ubered in, Ubered home. So now my stress about traffic and parking is gone.
Yeah, that's good.
And that made me feel so much better about going into this weekend, just knowing that, okay, I don't have to worry about driving. I don't have to worry about parking. I don't have I could just, and I could hang with my buddies here for the weekend at my place. I like hosting.
Yeah.
I like having company, and I don't get company here much. And I have plenty of room in this apartment. As you can see in the studio, look, there's a couch right there.
Miles stuff back there. Crash out back there.
Sleep on the floor.
Our back room where their bathrooms are.
So it was cool. Yeah, I made everybody breakfast both days, and it really made the whole weekend easier in many ways. I think.
Well, especially those guys aren't used to doubles.
Right.
So not having to drive home 3 hours or even an hour, and a half, just to get that extra sleep time in, right? Because you're back into it the next day again.
Exactly. And you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I got to do that again.
Yeah, but do you find it getting easier now that you've been doing it for a while?
No.
No?
No, Not easier. I wouldn't say. I don't think the time invested in it has made it easier. It's just kind of a day to day. Certain days are easier than other days, depending on how I'm feeling and what's going on. What was more difficult for me this weekend was I call the show for that band. So I had to call the show during the day and call the show during the night, as opposed to when I play with Rockbox, I don't call the show at all. I just play bass, and that's all I got to do.
Right.
So that's a lot more. That's okay, George. You can watch the rest on replay. Um, so that puts a lot of added pressure on me as calling a show. And now I'm calling a show with two singers. Like Steven said, vocally, it's crazy. We have two lead singers. I sing a little bit of lead. Guitar player sings a little bit of lead too. But two singers who are already sang, 30 songs each, or 20 or
Yeah.
25 songs each. And now you got to do a longer night at Fat Cats. It's longer. It's like now it's the night crowd. Now it's on.
Right.
And we did well at Bandstand as far as crowds are concerned. But when we got to Fat Cats and started playing, that's when it got like packed, sardine packed, like like where you could barely walk around. You had to like squeeze your body, and you had to bump into people. You had to push people.
Yeah,
To
wall to
get
wall people, packed.
wall to wall people. So it was good to be on the stage at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
But great to play to that many people too. Great to hear, like, doing the same stupid songs that we always do, basically the same show we always do, and hearing the crowd just roar, deafening roar,
Right.
after a song. And
awesome.
that's really cool. I mean, that's a really cool feeling.
Big round of applause for Steve.
Speaking of another Steven, this is the first time I've seen this. Up until 10 minutes ago, I didn't know yous existed.
Wow.
Still watching those, so yeah, it's all good. Thanks,
193
Steven.
episodes, and you just found us now. Awesome. Welcome on.
He didn't know we existed. Well, we exist. All right.
See, Pantheon, Steve, will be open even more doors for us.
Yes.
People to
So,
the magic of the wisdom.
So some wisdom in there, though.
So hang on. So when you went back, like you said, so you played double,
double, three doubles.
Did you find the crowd energy in the packed room made the set easier at that point?
Yes,
Your guys' energy a lot better.
It definitely there was adrenaline there for sure.
Yes,
when there's a crowd like that, and you see all these faces looking at you and smiling and dancing and jumping up and down and singing, and it boosts your energy. You're not thinking about tired.
Well, we've talked about it's collective energy too, right? It's the energy of that room. I mean, you can experience that with 100 people, or you can experience that with 20 people. Depending on the size of the room and how rowdy the crowd is.
Right. Yeah. It definitely made a difference. It helped carry us through. There were times.
Was every night like that?
No, I was going to say there were times. There was an ebb and flow a bit with some of it, so it wasn't like that 100% of the time. But at its worst, there was still a lot of people in the room, and they were very enthusiastic. So it was always kind of there was a good energy in doing that. It's interesting, so much that's interesting about it. But I for one, playing with the same band and playing for that long and that many songs, you get good as a band.
Well, that was
You
going to be
really get
many sets of music. How much tighter has the band gotten in the past 5 months? Right?
Yeah, you really get good, and it's not that's when it comes to like the sum, the whole is bigger than the sum of its parts, because like it doesn't really matter if you're the best bass player or the best drummer. So when the band is gelling, and it's huge, and that makes it feel so good. And I'll give you for instance of where I felt it the most. It was on Sunday, and We normally start at bandstand, like on a normal day when we play, we start easy. We play with like kind of more mellower songs in the beginning, kind of ease in songs that are easy for the singers, that to kind
Sure.
of warm up. And one song that we always start with is "Drift Away" by Dobie Gray, which is a great song. We all sing harmonies in it too, and it sounds really beautiful. Um, but then going over to Fat Cats at night, the first night it was packed, and when we went in there, and they were playing like dance music, so we just started in with dance music right away, and to kind of keep that crowd and turn it over slowly, and it worked. It worked really well. Um, but then Sunday we went in, and it was not as many people there. And it's like, all right, we're done with one gig. We're on the last one of the weekend. Let's start mellow again. Let's just start the day over, basically how we would do it. So we started with Drift Away. And it's interesting. You're in a different club, different sound system, different room, different room sound.
Mm-hmm.
But same players, same instruments, same gear, same everything. But then you go and we play that song, Drift Away, and it sounded just so beautiful. It sounded full. The vocals, four people singing, harmony vocals. It just sounded really good. It was nice in the pocket, and I was like, wow, like this band is really good because we've played this song, 100 times, and me
Yeah,
calling
100
the
times in the past 5 months.
right. And that's a thing that I employ with calling a show, and that's good advice for people too out there. Because when I lived in Jersey and I played in cover bands, I used to make the set list and I would write them out, and I would always start, like for Mad Rabbit anyway, it's a cover band I was in. I would always start with the same 3, 4, 5 songs, always, every single time, and I would always write out the set list, and people would joke with me in the band like, "We know what it's going to be. Why are you even writing it down?" But the fact that I started with those songs every time, it made us so good at playing those songs.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
got
that's your
so
opener, man, or, any other song that you play every set, every gig, right?
right. So I did that, and that was the thing I noticed on Sunday. It kind of, we were all tired too, so there was kind of some lulls in Sunday night, but we ended up doing 6 sets. We did 6 sets with the at Fat Cats as opposed to 8 on Friday and Saturday. So we did 31 sets for the weekend. That band.
Nice. Yeah.
Um,
And
and
and what how many s songs per set would you say?
about 10.
Okay. Yeah, so you're better than 300 songs a day.
No, for the whole week. Oh yeah, no, 31 for the weekend. So that
Mm,
would be 300 for the weekend.
gotcha.
So about 100 a day, I guess, comes
I
to.
guess that's marginally acceptable. I was more impressed with the 300 a day, but 100 a day will have to do it. I guess, unless you start playing triples, Steve, can you play another gig in the morning? Can you play someplace like, 9 to 1 and then hop over and go 2 to 6 and then go across the street and do the 8 to midnight or whatever and then go home and sleep for a little while?
No.
Then
In
we can
fact, we were offered to play on Monday and Tuesday during the day at Bandstand, and we declined.
really?
Yes, because well, there was one or two of the guys that couldn't do it, and we might have been able to get subs, but we were just like, we were asked that on Sunday, early on Sunday. We're like, no way, man. We're just we're already tired.
Well, you know what? That's the beauty too. What you said earlier too is because I know down in New Orleans, you guys have a lot of subs, and that's like a big part of that whole music industry down there. Is people hopping from band to band and being able to jump in and sit in, and you can get a lot of work as a sub. If you're good, right? You know a lot of songs, and you're have a good personality. But primarily with this band, it's been the same guys, right, for the past 5 months.
Yeah, probably longer. Uh,
But I mean, at least for this run of double,
around that,
it's
man.
been the
Yeah.
same guys, right? So that makes a huge difference too, because it's the same guys, right?
Yes.
It's a band. It's not like, yeah, it's pretty much the same guys, but the drummer wasn't there for like a month worth of gigs, and the keyboard player missed a couple, and we had subs, and the singers didn't. We just got a new singer. It's been the same guys, and that's why, like you said, it sounds so good because you get that chemistry, and with the band, it's the energy, the chemistry, just the way it gels and it works. That when it's on. And you find that magic mix of people and talent and energy. It's just that's you want to hold on to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not easy, because there's drama dynamics that go on all the time
Of course, it's life.
in a band. Um, and it's because I always think about like, yeah, I'm playing this weekend. All right, I got to play and I got to play this. But I don't really always think about what the experience is going to be because it's always different. And
Yeah,
it's always,
it makes it so much fun though when you go to gigs. It's a different experience every time. You never know what's going to happen.
right.
I mean,
So,
you walk
yeah,
into a place and there's you set up and you're 15 minutes before you're going to start playing and there's like 10 people in the place and you're like, oh man, I hope this isn't like a washout night. There's gonna be nobody here. And then, an hour later, there's, 75 people jammed in shoulder to shoulder, and things just turn around sometimes. You just don't know what to expect. I've played where you walk in and there's, 75 people. And then by the time you start playing, that was like an afternoon leftover party from the morning. And 50 of those people left and there's 15 people, still in the room.
right. Yeah, that's a big consideration for me to hear because of the turnover. There's constant turnover in New Orleans. You don't have to pay to get in a club. You don't have to. You can walk in and out with drinks. So you have to really work at retaining people, and there's a strategy with it, and that's what makes it tiring for me because I am constantly thinking. I'm looking at the people in the room. What's resonating with them? I'm looking at the street. What's going to get other people in here? What's going to make sense from this song to the next song? How is that singer doing right now? Is he going to be able to sing this song? Does it make sense from a genre standpoint? Like all these things I'm thinking about as I'm playing bass, and that's exhausting. It's like because it's constant. No set lists. We just call it as we go. And
But you
I'm
have
the
a
one that
master
does it.
list in front of you, though, to choose from,
I
right?
do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I
So,
use a music stand, everybody. Sorry.
so how do you decipher what song you've already played versus which ones are still available?
I remember.
Well, I guess it really doesn't matter because you guys played the same songs multiple times in a night,
We
depending
will.
on
We
the
can. We
the
do.
room, right? So,
I try not to unless it's necessary. I try not to do it just for the band's sake because it's like,
yeah, but
oh, we already played that.
but are there go-to songs like if you already played like "Don't Stop Believing" once in the night, but now all of a sudden this whole montage of people just came blasting into the bar, and you're about to play another song? Will you break that song out again, knowing that the 50 people that just rolled in are all going to be singing along, going crazy with that, or you just keep going?
Maybe. That's a definite maybe.
Mm.
That Don't Stop Believing is definitely a song I would call for that reason. Like if a bunch of new people came in and I want to keep those people in and I want to draw more people in like those people, then yes, I would call that again. I would also call it again if it was requested. And I'm the only one doing this on Bourbon Street, and I've talked about it on previous episodes if anybody wants to listen back to that. But I use an app on my phone that is you can take tips and you can get requests in real time. It works fantastic. We make a lot more money. We get a lot more crowd engagement from using it. And I did that all weekend for both gigs. So yeah, if we play Don't Stop Believing and somebody comes in and tips us to play it, we'll play it again. Somebody requested All the Small Things 3 times on Sunday, and I sing it. It was a different person each time. All the Small Things by Blink 182, and I sing it. But by the third time, it was late at night, and I go, I'm not singing that again. I'm not doing it. I'm not. I just refused to do it. So I didn't do it. It's not. It's because it's a. I think I sing it pretty good, but there's a lot of vocals going on, and I
Yeah.
don't. We haven't quite worked out the harmonies with everybody. I think they're close, but I don't know. Anyway, um, so yeah, I would definitely do it. We definitely repeated songs, and there's certain go-to songs, like you said. Don't Stop Believing's one. Sweet Home Alabama's another one. Um, the biggest one, and I see it everywhere in cover bands playing it, is Living on a Prayer. That's the one that just really puts it over the top. Living on a Prayer.
So what's a song that would draw people in off the street if they were walking by? Is that like if they heard Living on a Prayer, like they'd
Living
be
on a
into that
Prayer, Sweet Child of Mine.
and be like, oh, let's jump in here real quick.
Yeah, so and you just see it happen. Sweet Child of Mine. As soon as that riff starts in the beginning song, everybody knows what song that is, and you see people on the street scream, "Oh my God!" and they run in.
Wow, I have to think about that.
Girls usually, but
Yeah.
um,
So that's a good one. What else?
this is funny. I don't know who this is, but Facebook user said, "Don't worry, Blink 182 hasn't worked out those harmonies live either."
That's funny.
Yeah, but there's like a 4-part harmony at the end. Well, there's four vocal parts at the end.
Yes.
There's Say It Ain't So, I Will Not Go, Turn the Lights Off, Carry Me Home, and then there's a harmony to that, and then there's the nanas, and there's a harmony to that.
Right.
So it's 4. There's 4 different vocals. Thank you, Vanda. Vanda said, keep up the good work, guys.
Thanks, Vanda.
Is she leaving? You got 20 minutes still, Vanda. Hang out. But a great moment for me, and this is being very vulnerable here, but I sing quite a bit here. I've never thought of myself as a singer or as a lead singer, but I do sing lead on a lot of stuff. But I've never like fronted a band or anything like that. I've done it a couple sort of times at like small gigs, whatever. But during the night, I think it was Saturday night. I mean, I'm in the back of the stage, and I have a mic that hangs from the ceiling. I kind of pull it down, and that's where I sing from. And so the back of stage, parallel
like an
to
oxygen mask from a plane, like
kind of.
Like, in this corner, Steve, what's all? Ding, 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 and then the thing goes back up into the sky.
Well, sort
oxygen
of.
Announcer, kind of.
It doesn't. It's not a spring. It doesn't just bounce back up. But
okay, but it's not on a boom stand. It's on some other apparatus.
It's on a mic. It's on like a mic stand, like a normal mic stand, but it's attached to the ceiling. And I pull it down.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
hello, baby. Hello, my darling.
Hello, my nighttime gal.
When you're dancing like this, you can just grab it like, I'm back in town.
Good evening, Debbie.
No, I'm not.
But that's where I sing. I sing from. I'm in the back of the stage, and in front of me is the 2 singers, and in front of the stage. But there were a couple songs that I sang live where I was like, I'm going to go up to the front and sing on the lead singer's mic. I'm going to be in front of the stage.
Coming out of shadows.
Yeah. And I did that for a couple songs to when the room was just jam packed, and they're responding. I sang Sweet Caroline, which is a big crowd response song. And I'd never done that before. Like been at the front of the stage singing, playing bass to a crowd that big. And it was cool. It was exhilarating. It was that feeling of the crowd just completely responsive, and you got them in the palm of your hand. So I know what that feels like now, for people who do it all the time. It's pretty cool. It's intoxicating.
Yeah. So back in the day when I didn't sing at all, right? None, no backgrounds, nothing. I had the same dream. I'm like, man, I would love to. I'm always behind the giant drum kit in the back of the band, right? Like I want to be in the front. Like I want to be like in front of the stage, like right in front and center, and like have the crowd there. So, dude, we played a gig one time at this Holiday Inn, and it was the same thing. It was packed full of people, and my brother was there, and he came up and he played drums on Rage Against the Machine and Bulls on Parade, and the singer in the band who sang it, spot on. He had a wireless mic. So when we came back in off a break, my brother got behind the drums. The singer went over by the bar with the wireless, and I went up and fronted the band with his mic that was not turned on. And I played lead singer to the T while he sang the parts. So rally around the family. I was in it, man.
That Steven said, and he's the lead singer, said it's like a drug at times, and he does it. So
yeah, and then over time, as I sang backgrounds, and then you get more confidence and your voice gets better and you start to sing lead. Now, same as you, I might sing like half a dozen or 6, 7, 8 songs in the course of a night, that I'm singing the main part on. So even though it's from behind the drums, you still get that kind of exhilaration because you're not out in front, but people are singing along with me.
Yeah, that was the thing, is getting that instant energetic feedback from
Yeah.
somebody when you like just you lift up your arm for them to sing and they just everybody boom. It's
Now
powerful.
you want to sing now.
It's powerful. It's
Yes.
something else, man. And it was
Power.
I could see it like a drug because you get a huge dopamine hit from that.
Power of
From
Steve Witcher. Yeah. So now
um
so what are you making another announcement? Now you're abandoning bass, or you're
No,
gonna
no,
now
no.
be
I'm
a
glad I
Rush
got to
tribute band?
experience that for the weekend. Yeah, I'm glad I got to experience that feeling once in my life. Because I don't really want to be that. I don't want to be the front person. I don't want to be a singer. I like singing, but I don't want to be a singer.
Yeah, but I
If
think
that
you would get used to it after a while if you were always out in the front, because you would enjoy it so much, like you saying, like a drug, you know? You'd just like,
I don't like
I don't wanna go back into the shadows to my pull down mic over here, like, I wanna be out in front, man."
no, I like being in the shadows. So, and I'll give you an example of this
You a
too,
vampire? Jack the
which is
Ripper?
no, but this is funny. This is the thing that happened this weekend too. Friday night, there's these guys um, that come. These guys came in. They're in near me, in front of me, and it's like 5 or 6 dudes, friends, and somebody on stage. I had like a solo part in a song or something, or I was featured singing a song maybe, and somebody on stage like Steve Witchell on vocals or whatever it was. And then these guys just look at me and they just started like chanting, Steve. And then they were there for a long time of the night.
And then try and be like,
And
"You
then every once
suck."
in a while, they would just all start going, Steve, Steve. Like, and that doesn't happen to me
You'll get used to
ever.
it, Steve, don't worry.
And then they're like, they wanted me to lift up my shirt. They're all of them. They're like telling me, lift up your shirt. And I'm like, no, no, I'm not lifting up my shirt.
Did they give you
Stop it.
beads? Did they throw you beads?
No, you don't get the beads until you lift your shirt.
That's what I mean, but were they gonna reward you
I
with
don't know.
food?
I don't know. I didn't know. I was just like,
Nah.
I'm back here playing bass, and these guys are Steve, Steve, and then they're like, lift up your shirt. I'm like, no, no, I'm not lifting up my shirt. Debbie said, so you two are singers. We both sing, but I'm a bass player and Tony's a drummer. So I just ignored, and then finally they stayed for so long. They were tipping the band. They were requesting songs. So finally, I towards the end of the night, I lifted up my shirt, and they all fucking cheered. They were just like crazy cheered, and I
Steve!
just did it real quick, whatever. And so then Saturday,
You didn't do like a Hulk Hogan and just
that
like
was a
rip it off, like,
no, 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 no,
go.
no, because I got a beer belly. I have man boobs. I don't want to. I don't want to be showing that shit.
Subjecting anyone to
Seriously, it's
such.
not pretty. So then Saturday, I'm playing at Bourbon Bandstand during the day, and we're on break. I'm standing outside, facing Bourbon Street, just watching the whole show. It's overload, sensation overload of what's going on. Just any direction you look. And then I'm just standing there, minding my own business by myself, leaning up the thing, just watch. And then I hear, Steve, Steve, Steve. And then I look across the street and I see all those guys again. And they were just walking by and I just start cracking up. And then they're like, again, with the shirt,
Yeah.
and I'm just standing on the street, like
You're like a
leaning
celebrity
against,
now, dude. You're like I said,
I'm leaning against the club. And then I'm like, all right. And then I lift it up and they just cheer, a big roar of cheer for me doing that. And they all come over to me and then they gave me beads. They're putting on my neck and they're giving me fist bumps and stuff. And I was like, yeah, we're playing over there later. Again, if Fat Cats come on tonight, and they were like, yeah, we'll be there. And then they didn't show up. Sunday night, though.
because they were like, Steve. Then they got back to their hotel or whatever. They were like, I was going to lay down for a minute. They never made it back out.
But then Sunday night, as soon as we started playing, they were there. They were right there in front of the stage. All these guys
Chanting Steve again.
As soon as we started again, and imploring me to not only lift up my shirt, but to take my shirt off. And they're like, they just kept going at it. I mean, 20 minutes, a half hour, they were there between every song. Steve, take your shirt off. And like, And then they recruited some girl to say, I'll show my tits if you take your shirt off. And I'm like, no, no, no. And then she's like, I'll come up on stage and I'll take my shirt off with you. And I'm like, no, no, I'm not doing it.
That's a hard bargain.
And they just kept going at it. They persisted. They did not waver in their enthusiasm for me to
They're
remove
recruiting
my.
girls to come and solicit, you to do their biting. So I mean, of course they're committed. They want to see it. They want to get it done.
They were
These are get it
really,
done guys. These are guys, man. They want to
and
get it
they were
done.
they're young guys, like early 20 college dudes. And I don't know why I got singled out for this. And I said it on the mic. I'm like, I'm just a bass player, man. I'm just in the back here. I don't want to be bothered.
Right place
So
at the right
going back to
time,
what you're
brother.
Yeah, so going back to what you're saying before about being in the front. No, sometimes I really don't. I don't want to be bothered on stage. I just want to play bass and like be with my drummer, and that's it. I don't want anybody to even look at me. I'm just like, let me just play bass here. Leave me alone. So that's what I said something like that on the mic, and they laughed. Um, but they kept going. They're like, I, they might have offered money. They took one of my singers aside and said, "Hey, how much would it cost us to get Steve's shirt off?" And he's like, "I don't know. You got like at least a couple $100." But they never offer. I think if they asked me what my price was, I probably would have said $500, which would have been $100 a man. So everybody in the band makes $100 for it. I would do it for that. But my concern wasn't that I'm worried about taking my shirt off. It would have felt really uncomfortable.
They were going to take your shirt.
Take my shirt off. They wanted me to take it off.
No, but then they were going to take your shirt.
No. They
Run.
wouldn't take it.
That was the plan. They wanted you to be shirtless.
No, there's no way they could do that. But no, my concern was the internet. I don't want pictures and video of me shirtless with my beer belly on stage.
Coming
and
back
like,
to
here's Steve.
10 years from now when you're like a stud and you're like, that was me back in the day. This is me now.
No, I just didn't want. Here's Steve Witchell from Cover Band Central, fat slob on stage playing bass. I wasn't worth it to me. So
like Jabba the Hutt, dude. I wouldn't go overboard with, I just think you're right. You probably wouldn't want your picture.
It's not the look I'm going for, at this point. Talk to me at 20.
Unless Shirtless Steve becomes a thing for Mardi Gras, like join Shirtless Steve this Saturday night at Fat Cats, and has a picture of you with the bass, no shirt on, with all the guys behind you like, Steve. That'd be great, dude. That's promotional right there. I should be your PR guy, marketing. We'll talk.
Oh my goodness! So
we got huge ideas for you, Steve. You could be capitalized on this big time. SS Shirtless Steve. CBC presents Shirtless Steve.
No. Don't perpetuate this idea. This is not. There's nothing.
To be GoFundMe's for get Steve take shirt.
I tell you what, if that happened in real life, I know we're all joking here.
Starting to GoFundMe $25,000 to Steve take his shirt off.
But if that happened in real life, I'd be going to the gym every day. I'd be eating nothing but protein and
you should be doing that now in preparation for that.
Fiber.
You never know when it's going to come, Steve. It could be tomorrow. You will not be prepared.
I tell you what, if I was in good shape, yeah, I would have done it. I would have taken my shirt off.
25 grand right now to strip down your underwear and let me take pictures of you, shoot on the internet, play your bass.
25 grand?
Yeah, in your socks and underwear for the whole show.
Nah.
You don't have to share it with the other guys. You don't have to give them $5 grand each. It's your money to keep.
No, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
I mean, that's a good amount of money, but I play in my socks and underwear?
Yeah.
No.
For the whole gig.
No.
Let's post that question out to Cover Band Central. $25,000. Would you play a gig in your socks and underwear? Let us know. Inquiring minds want to know, Steve.
No. I don't know. But it made me laugh the whole time. Every time they yelled my name, every time they tried to get me to take my shirt off, it made me laugh. So I really kind of enjoyed that thing. And then Matt, my singer, later said, kudos to you for not taking your shirt off.
You did not break under the pressure of the
I didn't.
quintuplet of
I stuck to my guns.
offers.
I stuck to my guns with it
That's good.
because my guns are not looking good. So
Yeah. So is that giving you incentive now to go back to the gym and get in shape, or is it just giving you more willpower to say no?
perhaps both.
Good answer,
We'll see.
Grasshopper. I like that.
Yes, we'll see. So that was it. It was a very exciting weekend. I'm glad it's over. I did enjoy it, but I'm glad it's over with because it is sensory overload, man. It's not something everybody gets to experience. Even just being here, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are here and they get to experience Mardi Gras, but just being in it the way I'm in it, very few people get to experience this, and it's wild. It's wild, dude. It's
That's wild.
it's I don't
Yeah,
I
it's an experience, that's what you just said, and I'm glad that you still appreciate it after all the years of you being there, experiencing that experience, that you're still enamored by it, and there's still something exciting about it, you know? It's not just like, "Yeah, I played Bourbon Street again, Mardi Gras," 10,000 people everywhere. It was, it is what it is. Parking sucked.
Yeah, and that's the attitude too with a lot of musicians here. Like, oh, Mardi Gras, I hate this.
Yeah, but that's
And
what I mean, and meanwhile, the people that are there are like, "Yeah, Mardi Gras, like, we saved up to come here, or we've been planning this trip for X amount of years, and we finally got here, and all my friends are home from school, and we're coming out here," whatever it is, right? They're there for a destination theme type thing, and, like you said, it's inspiring to see that you're still thankful and grateful for that experience, and you are inspired by it, and you get excited by it, and now with your newfound frontman skills and soon to be shirtless, you know, activities going on there. I think for next year's story will be even better than this one, and this one was good.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'll be here next year doing that. I don't know if I want to. Like, yeah, it's a double edged sword. It's really great. It's fun to play, but it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It is very exhausting. I slept most of yesterday, Monday.
Yeah, but live for the day, brother. Be a warrior because those days will not always be there.
Agreed. Agreed. And I am. I just don't know that I
And that's
want to
the
keep
wisdom,
it.
Steve, that we'll leave our viewers with tonight.
Yes, on the
Just
Cover
our
Band
little
Central podcast.
yes, on our Pantheon groundbreaking Virgin podcast.
Virgin podcast. Yes.
Embrace the experience. Be a warrior, Steve, because those
Yes.
days may not come again. So don't look forward to say, another month of this potentially, because you'll look back someday and say, dude, remember when I played that year of doubles? Man, that was just so much. It was crazy at the time looking back. I don't know how I did that, you know?
Hmm.
So you want to be able to look back and remember doing it, right? Because that's the thing. It becomes a blur, right? I mean, we've all been there at stages in our life. You play so many gigs in a short amount of time. You try to remember everything, but it all becomes a little blurry until you start to think of like almost in eras of like when you were gigging of what songs you were playing. If you were an original band or if you're original band, what album was it that you were playing or supporting? And then if you're a cover band, what genre of music and from what years were you? Because you think about it, if you're in a cover band for 20 years, you're not playing the same music for
Right.
20 years, the same sets, right? So depending
Right.
on what band you were in or what songs you were playing, you can kind of piece together like events that happened in your life around that.
Yeah. It's certainly great to have experiences. Absolutely, as you said so well.
Yeah,
Um, rock on to you, Dallas Boston Experience
yeah,
DBX.
DRX like that.
I love Dallas and Boston. Um, all right, cool. See you then, Steve. All right, guys, thanks for watching and listening to us on Pantheon now.
Yeah,
Check out all of our previous podcasts on pantheon.com. Go to our website, coverbandcentral.com. Sign up for a profile for you, your band, or both. It is free. Make sure you get subscribed to the YouTube channel. The link is in the description. You want to
mm,
contact us, me, Steve at coverbandcentral.com is how you do that. What else, Tony? Is that it?
I think that's it, brother.
That's it. Yes, thank you guys all for listening and watching, and we'll be back next week.
Rock on.